What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to Scientology Sunday. Sunday. Oh, we got so much to cover, you all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Shout out to all of you up in here. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. We got a lot to do today. And I do want to go ahead and get started because another fantastic content creator will be going live at 6, and I'm kind of curious to know what he's going to be doing. So we're going to get right to it, you all. Not going to waste any time with it. Y'all make sure you come in and hit that like button. And everybody speak to everybody. So, in the world of Scientology, Aaron with the jail. Y'all, you can't make this stuff up. Lord have mercy. Before we go to that, we got to do this. So on the news, TikTokers raid Scientology buildings and post them online. And I'm here for it. Oh, we are here for this. Scientology is a cult. They should be raided. Are you kidding me? Why should a cult be able to thrive in the United States of America? We don't condone that. Oh, you can't make this up. Oh, let's get some music going. Oh, make sure y'all hit that like button coming in. What's going on, Francisca? Mama Sage is a new member. Awesome as of last night. Shout out to my mom, Saint Francisca up in here. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Oh, man. Scientology is being raided. These TikTokers are something else. Okay. Y'all hit the 4 where you can see it here because I'm here for this. Let's get to it.
This is just one snapshot of so-called speedrunners, including a man dressed like Jesus stampeding right through security at a Scientology building on Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh, I was over here for this.
Screaming as they sprint into the organization's notoriously clandestine halls.
Let's go in.
Others taking a more subtle approach, even signing in, looking for access.
Hi. Oh no, let me do that real quick.
Or apparent content for social media videos that are suddenly everywhere. They're calling it speedrunning Scientology.
Get out!
Inspired by video game slang, here the players are not just confronting guards, but unlocking maps of the buildings. Former Scientologist turned critic Leah Remini slamming the efforts as failing to highlight anything substantive.
It feels like it's about clicks, and it's turning something serious. And
yeah, it is. It is. And you know why? Because Scientology is a cult. They're sitting here raising money through fake audits. So whatever it takes to pest and get on these people's nerve, hell yeah. You know why, Leah Remini? Because see, Aaron is in jail. Did you know that? They're sitting here corrupting our judicial branch of government. They've already tried to infiltrate or have infiltrated our legislative and executive branch of government and the judicial, if you want to include the government agencies that are in charge of investigating crimes in our country, the FBI, the CIA, so they can get an exempt status. So they can avoid paying taxes in a country they claim to be citizens of and love so much. No, they love money. And they love their cult members giving them service for free. And the rich ones paying for these dumbass audits that mean nothing to no one. And at the end of the day, they've generated millions. So some kids want to run through and speed run through it. Let them. The F you doing? Then Remini, I don't see you bailing Aaron out of jail or anything. I'm sorry, has she single-handedly shut down Scientology and I missed it? Leah Remini, we want to be able to continue to support you, girl. But to sit here and to think that you're doing something that's shutting them down is laughable. Because then people are going to start asking you that. Okay, so what the hell are you doing to slow them down, to stop them? What exactly are you doing? Are you suing them or taking them to court? How's this going? You know, the one place they can't stand, co-leaders and cult members can't stand going to court. Because they have no power there. Unless they're paying off judges. What is she doing exactly to stop them? We know that they have done seriously harmful, deadly things. We haven't seen the leader get locked up or anything. What is she doing to help get him some criminal charges here? If all you're doing is you speak out against them, but then there's no action behind it. You know, faith without works is dead. So if there's no action behind this, then you saying all of this is for what? Girl, please. At the very least, let these kids go in here and run through and piss them off a little bit. Leah Remini is not making much happen in the court of law. So kick rocks, girl. Let them do this.
To content, and in doing so, it completely loses the point.
Their purpose isn't entirely clear, and some participants appear to be teenagers. One creator credited with beginning the trend, known only as Swiley, telling The Hollywood Reporter, "I didn't do this whatsoever to come out against them or anything. I do not condone what I did, even though I didn't break any laws."
Yeah, let them
With the
do it.
Scientology spokesperson telling NBC News, "These are peaceful spaces. Turning them into targets for viral stunts is not journalism, protest, or civic activity.
We don't
It
owe
is
them.
trespass, harassment, and disruption of religious facilities." The spokesperson added,
They've had people come up missing and hurt and harmed and held people captive. I mean, what are we talking about? The audacity of them to talk. Scientology leader had his own father stalked for months, years, and paid millions of dollars for that. And they got the audacity to want to sit here and act as if they have clean hands. No, I hope they keep on with these speed runs. Let that happen. Let it happen. Chabu. Oh, Lord. None of your business. Let me be clear on you. You sending me comments in here and I'm seeing them. I don't respond to buffoonery, especially to questions that are circular. If all you got out of that was me attacking Leah Remini, then I'm not going to engage in the nonsense because I'm not attacking her. Doesn't matter if she's sitting down and saying things to oppose them and shed light. If she's not doing anything else, all she's doing is speaking out against them. But for what she has done has not led to anybody being arrested or charged or anything. Why knock what they're doing if at the very least, for all the trouble Scientology has caused, for all the horrible things that they have done, seeing these speedrunners go and pest them for 5 seconds, it's still some nice revenge. Who cares? It's a cult. They're out here doing horrible things to people and they're crying about somebody running through a building. That's incomparable to me. I mean, I'm just saying, they out here doing horrible things to people. Scientology has been responsible for people coming up unalived. And here they are whining and complaining about somebody running through a building. All I'm saying is, why should Leah Remini knock that? Let that shit happen. The worst that they can say is happening is that they're being pestered and they feel harassed like anybody gives a damn. We don't want a cult to continue to thrive and grow in our country either. As a matter of fact, they're international and it's pathetic. And the only thing that one person can get out of this that's trolling is, why am I attacking Leah Remini? Obviously, you don't understand the definition of the word attack either. So why should I even sit here and entertain your questions, girl? I'm not doing it. Because that's all you got out of that. Scientology is a horrible, evil cult. And they have the audacity to be big mad about somebody running through a building. Child, please. We don't care. Let them be big mad. I hope the speed runners keep running through them buildings. Keep messing with them and getting on their nerve. Because they've done horrible things to deserve every bit of that. You kidding me? How you doing, beautiful Bernice? How's it going? I don't think people don't have to actually be in the chat. You know, they come in at their own peril. What's going on, Mindy? How you doing? And then this is what happens when you're not listening. You only hear certain things. What's going on, Susan Q? And they come in and they only catch parts of things and they don't hear the whole statement of what was said. Leah Remini is vocalizing the issues of Scientology. She filed a missing persons report for the leader's wife, to whom we still have not seen. But for her to knock something with speed running through a building, oh, well, that's not getting anything done. Okay, so what all is she getting done other than speaking out? We still haven't seen the actual wife of the leader in decades. I'm glad she filed the missing persons report. No one is knocking that. But that is the extent of what has happened from that. It's not as if she's walked up to wherever the wife is. What's her name? Shelly. It's not like she walked up to this compound where she believes Shelly Miscavige is sitting at and demanded that they open the doors and let her out. It's not as if she'd been able to sit down and look at this woman, put eyes on her. You know how long it's been since she filed that missing persons report? It's been, what, at least 20 good years? Maybe 30? My question would be, why knock something that's at least stirring the waters up in a way to where it is bringing attention to this dumbass cult? When the extent of what Leah Remini is doing is speaking out, getting interviews, getting Netflix shows, which brings in views and generates money, does it not? Her interviews, Netflix deals, any other show she has, aren't they getting views and clicks? Aren't they doing the same thing? If we're going to compare apples to apples, let's do it right. I'm indifferent to Leah Remini either way. I don't hate her. I don't have nothing against that woman. I don't even know her. I applaud her efforts in speaking out. But isn't the things that she's doing generating views and clicks? She's knocking the very thing that her activism is generating views and clicks. She's just verbalizing everything. They're going through a building, speed running and getting on their nerves for 30 seconds. So what? So what? Everybody can't get a Netflix deal. Everybody can't sit down with, 2020 and do interviews. So they're doing what they can. Why knock it? You know what? They're a cult. They're evil. They've hurt people. They've unalived people. They've stalked people. They've retaliated. They're trying to take over Clearwater. Yeah, keep running through their buildings. I'm here for it. Are you kidding? Don't knock it. Chabu. That's what we are. Aaron is in jail, man. That's what's so crazy. Aaron is in jail. You got judges sitting here locking him up over some cornstarch getting over on somebody. Scientology is whining and crying because people are speed running through their building when they have stalked the father of the current leader for years and would not leave that man alone. Stalked the man and paid people thousands to millions of dollars to do it for years. For what? No one should be mad at this. This is hilarious to me. I'm here for it. I'm like Ron. I'm here for this. Let them run through that damn building. Child. The beautiful Bernice said, Jason, is it Beggy? I don't want to mispronounce his last name. Also did a lot of talking with her and nothing has happened. Exactly. I mean, it's you could go and do interviews until kingdom come. Is Leah Remini going to demand that we all get to see Shelly Miscavige and that we get to lay eyes on her? Is she going to walk up to whatever compound they claim she's safely hiding at and be able to have a sit-down interview with her so that we can see this woman alive? Is that going to happen? Because, once again, faith without works is dead. You can say all these things, but what is that getting us to? Where is that leading us to here? People still haven't seen Shelly Miscavige. What are we talking about? Chabu. And if you've laid eyes on her, please take a photo or a video and send it to me so we can post it up. Can't make this up. Mindy says, my daughter just said she loves the rating the kids are doing. She thinks it's hilarious. I love it. I'm here for it. Get on their nerve. Child, please. Said they are mapping the building. Exactly. They're mapping out the building. They're showing us exactly what's on the inside of it. Who knows? They might hopefully stumble in and see some criminal activity happening and they can call the police and get in there and get it raided. They're figuring out how they're operating from the inside out. We're here for that. Sometimes all these little things can add up and lead to something much more promising beyond an interview with 2020. We'll wait for Leah Remini to put eyes on Shelly Miscavige. Ciao. It's a funny bunch. It's crazy. Let this happen. I'm here for it. Let's go back a little bit. Keep raiding their damn building.
Here to be teenagers. One creator credited with beginning the trend, known only as Swiley, telling The Hollywood Reporter, I didn't do this whatsoever to come out against them or anything. I do not condone what I did, even though I didn't break any laws.
I condone it.
With the Scientology spokesperson telling NBC News, these are peaceful spaces. Turning them into targets for viral stunts is not journalism, protest, or civic activity. It is trespass, harassment, and disruption of religious facilities.
There's nothing religious about what they're doing when they treat children like grown adults. Where they're forcing kids to learn how to be auditors. Where in a Scientology training video, you got grown-ass men sitting across the table from 8, 9-year-old little girls, having whole conversations with them like they're grown women. You got kids that are being essayed by these grown-ass men. And they're setting up a whole environment for that to happen by putting an 8, 9-year-old girl in a chair across the table from a 40-some-year-old nasty grown-ass man. And then looking at her like she's a grown woman. This is the disgusting behavior that goes on. You got kids being trafficked. You have people that are coming out as survivors saying, these horrible things happened to me as a child. They look at babies like they're mini adults. They have people working over 100 hours a week and then paying them less than $200. That's about slavery right there. They trying to take over. They're keeping businesses from being open in Clearwater. And they want to sit here and talk about, oh, we don't like people running through our building. We don't like a cult trying to take over U.S. soil. The hell we doing? A cult wants to take over in the United States, where we have armies, armed forces. And you've got judges locking up Aaron over cornstarch. What are we doing?
The spokesperson adding they're taking protective security measures and reporting the incidents to police. After a recent incident last weekend, the LA Times reporting that the LAPD's Major Crimes Division has been tasked with investigating it as an alleged hate crime.
It's not a hate crime. It's just running through their building and getting on their nerve. That's not a hate crime. It's no different than that Bullingdon club that goes around smashing restaurants. They actually go in to destroy property. God. A Bullingdon club actually does that. Guess who's in that? George Farmer, the husband of Candace Owens. They go around smashing up restaurants. They get drunk. I mean, blithing drunk. And they go through and smash and destroy restaurants in the Bullingdon Club. And somehow, these kids running through a building is a hate crime? No, it's not about hatred. It's about your dumbass cult that should not exist. Hate crime my ass.
Go, get out, go. As Remini has cautionary words for the content creators and their legal exposure.
This trend creates chaos. It creates a spectacle. And worst of all, it hands Scientology exactly what they want, the ability to position themselves as the victim.
So, yeah, we are talking about private property here. Sam Brock joins us. I mean, what is the criminal investigation showing?
So we reached out to the LAPD. They have not responded to us yet. You look at these videos and you see people forcing their way onto private property, right? Is that a crime?
That's not a hate crime. It's not a hate crime. I know. It's not a fucking hate crime. They haven't reached back out yet? Oh, no. Wow. Because they're still trying to figure out the criminality of this hate? Are you serious? If they're investigating it as a hate crime, why didn't they respond? They have to figure out, according to the law, how this would be categorized and charged as a hate crime in the first place. They need to have the merit. You got to have evidence to satisfy the requirement for it to be seen and charged as a hate crime. They don't have it because they can't say that they're doing this because people just are targeting them as a hate group. It's not a hate group doing it. It's just random kids running through it. They just making shit up.
LAPD says
it's ridiculous.
LA that they are investigating right now at least 2
trespassing
people from this incident
at
this past Saturday,
it's a
both for
misdemeanor.
vandalism and robbery. That no one is in custody at this point, but they also said that they're beefing up their.
What's the robbery? What did they steal? They signed in. Oh no, they stole ink on paper. A couple of these people signed in. They may have put down Donald Duck, or Looney Tunes, or Bugs Bunny. You know, hopefully they didn't put their real names on. They maybe signed in as, you know, I am your mother. Like, hey, what is a robbery? I'm sorry, you said robbery. What the hell they steal? They used a pen to sign in. This is something else.
Is in custody at this point, but they also said that they're beefing up their patrols, Tom, around that area off of Hollywood Boulevard and are monitoring.
I'm trying to figure out the robbery
Incident this past Saturday, both for vandalism and robbery, that no one is in custody.
Who stole something? What was stolen? Did y'all hear that? See what they do? Steal a pen? Oh, Susie Q, they stole the ink out the pen to put on a piece of paper. You know what I'm saying, Nicholas? This is a misdemeanor. Trespass. They'll be trespass. Child, please. Hey, what is there to steal? Don't nobody want shit out of there. They have nothing of value. Child, boo. Steal. I don't want to steal nothing. Scientology is a cult. Don't steal nothing out of there. You don't know what curse you're bringing into your house. Leave that stuff there. What? I don't even know what the hell they stole. They never even said what was stolen.
City at this point, but they also said that they're beefing up their patrols, Tom, around that area off of Hollywood Boulevard and are monitoring this ongoing trend. At this point, it should be very clear to anyone in the region that there are individuals trying to break into these several buildings. As far as additional security measures that the church itself had talked about, they wouldn't specify, but they did apparently, according to video and reporting that we've seen, take the door handles off of the main entrance. So if someone wants to try to come by and slam their way through, you no longer can at least open the door.
There's so many people in there, it's going to get dangerous and something's eventually going to happen.
A literal stampede.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Are they gonna, address how Scientology hold scientists hostage in basements and shit? All that essay happening to kids up in there. You got small children now having to raise babies. Are they gonna address that at all? Perhaps these run-throughs might allow someone to go past crimes being committed, and then they can actually rescue people up out of there. We're talking about a cult. This is like running through People's Town with the Jim Jones cult if it were in a building. How would that be any different? It's a cult. The only difference between Scientology and Jim Jones with People's Town, Jim Jones with People's Town was a commune in another country. They went down there and tried to get people up out of there too. You remember what happened in history? What had happened with that? People were unalived and shot. And then Jim Jones takes out everybody in the commune, including babies and children. Scientology is no different. So if this could result in someone actually being freed and help to escape out of here, so be it. No one has to steal anything. But if they witness a crime, guess what? Now they get to report that crime of what's occurring inside of this building. And the police should take that seriously as well. And if Scientology feels like they're not doing anything wrong, they shouldn't have to pay government agencies and judges for a damn thing. They'll have somebody locked up over some cornstarch, and yet they want to call this a hate crime. And they're out here outbidding people who want to open legitimate businesses in Clearwater, Florida, taking over property just so they can control the city, not because they want it to thrive and flourish. Because on average, no one wants to be affiliated with Scientology because they know it's a cult. On average. You got some that may not be fully aware of what it is, or they might be interested and walk in one day and never come back out. But see, a church is always open to the public. Why is it that Scientology wants to be a church when it's convenient? Any other time, oh, this is a closed business that's not open to the public. What you mean? So it's not a church. Churches don't operate like that. People don't go through churches like this. But if they claim to be a church, then they're not conducting themselves like one. All these secret tunnels and secret rooms and all this stuff in a church. So you're either welcoming to people or you're not. Which one is it? Scientology has always been a cult. Let the kids run through it. I don't agree with any crimes being committed. Nobody should be robbing anything. But running through it or walking through it, you know what's so funny? If they were more open to the public and would at least give tours, people wouldn't have to feel like they need to run through there to see what the heck is going on. Because you got people going in and not coming out. The church is always open, right? To parishioners. You should be able to walk into a church and go to the sanctuary and pray and all this other stuff. Catholic churches leave their doors open 24/7 for confession and have mass running all the time. You mean to tell me Scientology wants to be a religious facility now? But yet they want to talk about taking the handles off the doors so that people can't come in and sit down and talk to some sort of spiritual leader of some sort. That's not a church. We all understand that churches, on average, you can walk in to the religious facility and at least pray. You can't do that in Scientology. They don't have the characteristics of a church. They operate as a business, one that is not available to the public. And they make millions of dollars. They only call themselves a church because they want to be tax exempt. It's that simple. Chabu, get the kids run through there.
Okay, Sam, great to have you here. Thank you. We thank you for watching. And
Oh, y'all. Okay, that's it there on that one. Oh, man, we got to look at this. It's worse than we thought. Let's see what's going on with AA Ron.
The protesters something they can show police.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jenna Miscavige. My uncle is the leader of Scientology. I was born and raised in Scientology, and I escaped when I was 22. And I am here today because I'm covering for Aaron because he is currently serving 20 days of a 30-day sentence in Pinellas County Jail on a bogus misdemeanor charge brought against him by Scientology. He beat the first one. The second one, they got the better of him because of an extremely biased judge. And I am here today with a new update on the latest development in what's been happening with him. Okay, so the trial was on Tuesday, the 14th. And from
Did he appeal this? That's what's so crazy. Was there an appeal? The judge sentenced him to 30 days in jail, 20 to 30 days in jail. Let me see. I don't want to pull up the court documents. You want to know his last name? Aaron Smith. Okay. I'm not using their article. They suck. They got their own article. I ain't doing that. Hold on. I'm trying to find. I want the court docs, actually. What was it? Good grief. They done had this man locked up so many times. They got many dates on here. This isn't the one I want. This is not new. This was from November. They got an article called The Scientology Money Project. You can't make this up. This was just this year, right? When did the incident occur? Was that last year? Okay, here we go. I'm gonna share this right quick because I want to read this. Aaron Allen Smith, 11 mugshot and arrest info, Pinellas County, Florida, was booked in Pinellas County on April 14, 2026. The arrest information includes charges and booking details, which are public records provided by local law enforcement agencies. Let's see. I'm trying to see like what the Y'all, this is crazy. They got this man in jail for this. What was the charge? He was charged with battery. Are you serious? They charged him with battery. He was charged with battery. Oh, Lord, this is so ridiculous. They charged him with battery. And he got 30 days. He's still there. Custody status date April 14. I'm looking at the, what is this? Vinelink.com. I don't, child. Aaron Smith 11. Custody status date April 14, 2026 at 7:17 p.m. Eastern Standard. Custody status in custody. Custody details, Pinellas County Jail. Booking date was April 14th at 7:06 p.m. And then they have the location and then reporting agency down here. They got him in 30 days for battery with cornstarch. This is the silly ass shit they do. This is so crazy. That's his booking information. So he's there for 30 days because some cornstarch got on somebody at a protest. You can't make this up. Oh my God, they some clowns. They are some clowns. Okay, let's go back to what she was saying. Lord have mercy.
From the day of the trial, you have 10 days to file a motion for a new trial. So today is the 10th day, and that was filed by Aaron's lawyer, Jerry. And I'm going to pull that up so you guys can see it as well. Okay,
good.
here
They
we
file,
are. So this
appeal.
is the defendant's motion for a new trial based on improper curative instruction and judicial comment on facts, not in evidence. So I'm not going to read every word of this, but I'm going to go through it briefly. On April 14th, the defendant was tried by jury before Judge Kathleen Hessinger on a single count of battery. This was the second battery trial for the defendant, as approximately 1 month earlier and before the same judge, the defendant was found not guilty of battering a different Scientologist member. The defendant was a former Scientologist that had been abused by the organization for years, and Scientologists have attempted to destroy him for many years due to him leaving the organization and being an outspoken critic. The defendant has a YouTube channel known as Growing Up in Scientology, as well as a foundation dedicated to assisting Scientologists from escaping the organization. The defendant also organizes protests in downtown Clearwater regarding Scientology's policies and treatments of individuals. On April 10th, the trial court held motions in limine and also entertained the defendant's request for judicial notice of the property appraiser's website photo depicting the boundaries of the property line of the building in question where the battery is alleged to have occurred. Okay, so this is a really key point here. Like he says, on April 10th, there was a hearing held. I was present, and it was all about the motions in limine. And to remember this word, I always relate it to the word eliminate. I don't even know if that's correct, but that's what I'm getting in my mind.
Motion
And it's
eliminate.
things that the prosecution wants to eliminate from being mentioned during the trial. And so they say, we can't talk about this, we can't talk about that. And one of the things that was brought up in this hearing was a motion that was made by Aaron's lawyer. It was to include evidence from the Pinellas County property appraiser's website about where the property line is. I'm going to pull up that motion. Okay, so you can see this motion here. And basically, it says, respectfully request that this honorable court take judicial notice of the following image map photograph taken from the Pinellas County property appraiser's website. And he basically just wanted the court to take notice of this property map so that it can be included as part of evidence for the trial. All right. And this is the map that he wanted to show. This shows right here. This is the Coachman building, if you're familiar with the area. This is the Clearwater Bank building where the incident happened.
Hey, Gigi.
And it specifically shows on this site that the property line, it's like inside of the building almost. Okay. So when this whole incident happened with Aaron, he was told he was trespassing, and they had told him many times before that he was actually trespassing. And like a responsible person who is a protester who knows that they're going to try to use anything they can against him, he actually looked at the property map beforehand. This is the only publicly available information on where the property line is or isn't. So in this hearing on April 10th, his lawyer, Jerry, tried to introduce the property map as part of evidence. And the prosecution gets a chance to object to this. And their objection was that there is a disclaimer on the website which says something along the lines of, this is not an absolute definite map. There can be mistakes. If you want 100% correct map, you have to order a survey. Okay. So they said, because it is saying that this is not an official document, we object to this being entered into evidence. And the judge said, okay, yeah, since it's not an official document and you would have to order an actual survey, then I will not allow this to be entered into evidence. And I'm actually going to read you the transcript on what happened here. His lawyer said, yes, Your Honor, it's basically the same motion that I had previously run in the last case, where I'm requesting the property appraiser website that shows the property line in this matter. And then the prosecution said, Your Honor, the state will be objecting. May I approach? This website's from the property appraiser's website. There's a gray part that's highlighted. And Your Honor, it's the state's position that there's a disclaimer provided on the website that it's not to be used as a property line. And it's the state's understanding that in order to be entering something as proof of a property line, we would need some sort of certified documentation. And this is simply from the property appraiser's website. And then they basically have a little back and forth where he says, well, if they're not going to argue that my client was trespassing, then that's fine. We don't have to admit that into evidence. So Aaron's lawyer said, are you going to be saying that he was trespassing? And the state said, no, Your Honor. The state simply anticipated that the testimony to be elicited was that he's not welcome. But we have not charged with trespass, so there's no reason for that testimony to be elicited. And then the judge said, okay, I'm going to deny the motion for judicial notice. It's not an authentic document. And just so we're clear, the state has indicated that they're not going there with the trespassing argument. So that was the entirety of the discussion in this pretrial hearing with all of the motions in limine. Now, come the trial day, so twice during the trial, the prosecution's witnesses said that he was trying to get into the building and that he was on private property. Well, how is that much different from saying he's trespassing, for one thing? So Aaron wound up saying that he was on public property multiple times, which wasn't disallowed. The only thing that was disallowed was putting the property map into evidence. But the last time he did this, the judge got extremely angry, kicked the jury out of the room, and sat there for several minutes fuming while she chastised Aaron in front of everybody, saying that he violated her ruling on this matter over and over and over again.
How did he violate her ruling again? See, this is how, let me tell y'all something. Judges are people too. And yes, they can F up. Every judge, it's not going to always show some level of integrity and ethics in the courtroom. And when they do slip up, report their asses over to the Judicial Qualifications Commission. Whatever the agency is in the state of Florida, in Georgia, it's the JQC. Whatever that equivalency is in Florida, report the judge. Because they don't have it's all about court decorum. There is absolutely no reason to sit here and to go off and harper over and over and over again about somebody violating your ruling. If it is clear that the ruling was to not allow this piece of documentation to be submitted as evidence into the case, but not that they could not verbally testify as to where they were in regards to whether they were standing on private or public property. Because testimony is evidence. So if the evidence you didn't want included was the map itself, the exhibit, that doesn't mean that the testimony that he provided could not be admitted either. If she couldn't make that clear, and I didn't have to go to anybody's law school to be able to say this difference. If she couldn't make that clear, the judge failed. to articulate what exactly was admitted and allowed to be evidence and what wasn't. She could have easily said, I'm going to sign the order to eliminate the exhibit as well as any testimony from being submitted as evidence regarding the property. Does that make sense? Because there's a difference. And this is something that the judge couldn't articulate, but wants to berate one party over the other, showing a clear bias in the courtroom. That was highly unnecessary. The judges are to maintain a level of integrity and ethics in that courtroom and a modicum of decorum to eliminate the impression or implication of impropriety, of any type of bias. So if you're railing it in on the defense for 5 whole minutes, you're already showing some level of bias. It's not necessary. Just say what needs to be said and keep it moving to keep things neutral and impartial. Are you effing kidding me? Y'all. Oh, man, that judge should be reported. They need to report that judge. Report ass to whatever it is in Florida. In Georgia, it's called the JQC. So if it's something similar to Florida, just report her to it. And then they can investigate her. And more than likely, guess what? If they see that she violated the judge's rules of ethics, because there's a whole rule book here, a codified rule book for judges and how they should carry and conduct themselves in the court of law. If they are found to have violated those rules of ethics, the JQC will open up an inquiry and do an investigation and will bring a complaint to that state's superior court or Supreme Court. I just got through reporting on this happening to a judge in Fulton County here in Georgia. The JQC sent over 30 misconduct charges to the Georgia Supreme Court. And the Georgia Supreme Court judges panel unanimously ruled for her to be removed from the bench, and bless God, she was removed from the bench. What happened after that is going to blow your mind. The DA here, Fannie Willis, with her dumb ass, hired this ousted judge to be a prosecutor. It's the corruption for me that I can't stand. It's disgusting. See, even in a situation where she could just go have several seats and sit down, that goes to show you have people that are just going to be corrupt no matter what. This woman was ousted as a judge and then hired by Fannie Willis to be a prosecutor. For what? So, whether the person is a judge or a prosecutor serving as an attorney of some sort, they're still corrupt. And it's unfortunate. You're going to have corrupt people in the judicial branch of government. But part of our job, as citizens, as members of the public, is to weed their asses out. File a complaint and get her off that bench. Nobody has time for that nonsense. And I can guarantee you that if you at least look at 10 other hearings with the same judge, you will probably not see her carry on like that. And if you do, that's a pattern of behavior, and her ass should have been gone a long time ago. Kick her ass off the bench. I'm all for it. Get off the bench.
She basically had to sit there and cool down while she decided if she was going to proceed with contempt proceedings, to hold him in contempt, which she has threatened everyone in the courtroom over and over again. She can put us in jail for up to 6 months for being found in contempt by her. I'm actually going to read from the transcript on this one. Okay, so Aaron was being cross-examined by the prosecution, and he said, I understand the question. What you're missing is I'm on public property. They actually lied when they said I'm on private property. And then the judge busted in and said, I need everyone to approach, please. And she said, how many times is he going to say I'm on public property when he knows that I said that? It's a little confusing because there are people talking over each other. And then the judge said, do you have any proof whatsoever that he's standing on public property? And then Aaron's lawyer said, I'm not asking the questions, so I don't know why you're addressing me on it. I mean, she's asking the questions. And then the judge goes, all right, can you pull the jury out, please? So the jury gets kicked out of the room. And she says, have a seat. I've heard Mr. Aaron Smith Levin say, it's got to be at least 10 times I was on public property. I was on public property. I was on public property. I believe on our motion.
They have court reporters in there. Why would the judge need to lie about how many times she heard it? Who is this damn judge? This judge is incompetent as hell. Oh, this judge sucks. Oh, this judge is so incompetent. You have a court reporter in there. What are you doing? The court reporter's job is to record what's being said in the hearing. So she could easily ask the court reporter, can you go back on the record to see how many times did he say that? So I can be accurate when I repeat the statement. And I need to know exactly what he said. Why is she getting so upset is my question. Why is the judge so mad?
In Lemonade trial conference, I made it very clear that sheet you're all relying on, that it's not reliable. That map, I refuse to take judicial notice of it. It's not an official map. And we discussed the fact that if he was going to say he was on potential public property, that there better be some proof that he was on public property, Mr. Smith Levin.
It's a sidewalk.
That's not actually what she said. She just didn't take judicial notice of the map. She did not say that if he's going to say he's on public property, that he needs to have proof of this. In fact, the burden of proof is on the prosecution, not the defendant. Something that she announced and made very clear to everyone at the beginning of the trial. You have said over and over you're on public property, and there's been no proof whatsoever that you're on public property. None whatsoever. So Aaron goes, I have proof, sir. And she goes, am I a sir to you? And he goes, oh, no, that's a Scientology thing, ma'am. I'm sorry, in Scientology, all women are referred to as sir. Oh, really? Yeah, really, stop. You can 100% stop. I'm being truthful. Stop talking, okay? So this is a moment where she was essentially like talking down to him, chest.
Yeah, it's just the personal thing she brought into this. No one needs that. Yeah, the judge got into her little feelings. Don't nobody give a damn. Her ass needs to be reported and removed. And the governor could, encourage the defense to file a complaint. But he can't really do much else with the judge because they're supposed to be, our three branches of government is supposed to operate separate but co-equal. He can't influence what's happening in the judicial branch to go one way or the other. But he could, encourage people to file complaints against judges when they're behaving unethical and they're violating the rules of conduct. That's about the most he can do, because what you don't want is for him to say more, and then they say, oh, well, the governor is interfering with this. No, you don't want that. Because all Scientology wants to do is be victim. Because they're a bunch of punks. And a cult. It's a cult. This is crazy. I'm going to skip ahead for the sake of brevity.
Proof. Do you have any evidence you're going to be presenting here today, Mr. Theophilopoulos, that the property was on public property? My answer to that is that I don't believe either party should have testified, including Mr. Norman Shape, blurting out that this is private property. That's all hearsay. So neither party should have stated that, Your Honor. Because if it's private property, that's a fact. If he's making up a fact, you all were supposed to have proof that this was public property now. Common sense dictates that churches are not built on public property, all right? And if it was, they probably, by the city, would have had required a variance, which could have given them the control over it. Okay, so this is her assuming something in Scientology's favor. The first thing she's assuming is that the church was built, would never have been built on public property. Well, guess what? It wasn't a church when it was built. It was a bank building, okay? The second huge mistake here for her to say, well, of course it wouldn't have been built on public property. Guess what, everyone? The mural on the flag building, the site of the previous incident that the judge knows very, very, very well all about, half of that mural on public property. She knows that. The Scientologists know it. The officers that came into that trial testified to that same thing. So for her to act like this is somehow preposterous and impossible shows extreme bias and is just dead wrong. And the fact that she wouldn't let anybody else even speak to the alternative shows that she really wouldn't even allow the defense to make a case against any ruling she was making. And she goes, my question is, am I about ready to go into contempt proceedings? Because he's violated over and over again this court's ruling. And it's ridiculous how many times I've heard him say it was on public property. And you know what? It doesn't matter. State, do you have anything want to add? And they said, no, Your Honor, for my understanding, we can move past this issue. I don't think we need to go down that route. It goes on and on a bit. The judge complains for longer, is fuming. She goes, all right, I'm going to give an instruction to the jury that there is no evidence that the Church of Scientology is on public property. It is not fact. It's stricken from the record and should not be considered by the jury as fact. Okay, a bit later, she goes, all right, bring the jury back in. She goes, all right, bring the jury back in. And then Aaron's lawyer says, please, may I, before they come back in, I would like a curative instruction as to Norman Shape's testimony with regards to it being private property, as there's been zero evidence introduced that it's private property. If you're doing it for the defense, against the defense, it should also be against Mr. Norman Shape. The judge literally said overruled and continued talking as if he never even said it. She goes, I'm reiterating the fact that this defendant has been told several times that he was not to discuss that. That is a blatant, flat out, bald-faced lie from the judge. An outright lie. He has not been told several times not to discuss it. A complete and utter lie. And a perfect example of her punishing the defense because she doesn't like him and letting the prosecution slide when really the presumption of innocence is of the utmost importance in these types of criminal cases, as is the burden of proof. And she goes to the jury, she goes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to instruct you that there has been no evidence that the Church of Scientology is on public property. The fact that the defendant has stated it several times is not a fact. That statement that is public property is stricken from the record and you are not to consider it as a fact in this case. All right, you may proceed. And once again, she disallowed any curative instruction to be given as far as it also not being private property and there being no evidence of that.
Wow.
Okay, so let's go back to this document from his lawyer in the motion for a new trial.
This is so crazy.
So it says on April 10th, the trial court held motions in limine and also entertained the defendant's request for judicial notice of the property appraiser's website photo depicting the boundaries of the property line of the building in question where the battery is alleged to have occurred. The area of the alleged battery was disputed.
You're going to read ahead. I'm going to read ahead.
Her extreme behavior towards the defense when the defendant testified it was public property that he was.
Why not do a motion for her removal, for her to be recused?
Days earlier, the defense counsel was cautious and asked to approach to the cross-examination of Norman Shape. So basically he's saying that because the judge was so hostile to Aaron during the motions in limine hearing, instead of making this an issue in front of everyone in court for fear that Aaron would go to jail if he did, he approached the bench quietly so no jury could hear the dispute or what he disagreed with, what he was objecting to. Due to the trial court's threatening statements and angry demeanor towards the defendant at the motion in limine hearing 4 days earlier, the defense counsel was cautious and asked to approach prior to the cross-examination of Norman Shape and informed the trial judge that Mr. Shape opened the door to use of the Pinellas County Property Appraiser's website boundary photograph, a photograph that this witness himself had given to law enforcement the day he reported the battery. However, the trial judge simply stated overruled. So what he's saying is that when Andrew Shape was testifying, when he said private property, on cross-examination, Aaron's lawyer wanted to say, look, he opened the door to us showing this evidence. Now that he said it's private property, now I feel like we have to show this evidence. They violated the limine, and the judge just said overruled. Didn't mind that he said it was private.
So one party is able to introduce through testimony evidence about the type of property this building is sitting on. But when the defendant does it, then she wants to accost him in court. She's showing a clear bias against the defense. And she's not being neutral and impartial and saying neither party needs to do it. Therefore, if anyone objects to one party doing the same thing, the judge's reaction should be the same when it's the other way around. I just want to know, did they get a new trial? I have to skip ahead because this is looks like a long briefing here. And they're trying to make the case for a new trial, so I expect it to be kind of lengthy. So I'm going to go to the end. Hold on. Okay.
For his YouTube channel. I will not permit this to happen. It is not relevant. Bring the jury in. Once again, this is literally insane. Does she think that all this information isn't already on his YouTube channel? Does she think that the way that Aaron's audience or the public in general, the only way
judges
they're going to
always care
hear
about YouTube
about
channels.
Scientology, SP, fair game,
Why?
etc., is through the audio of the courtroom? What the fuck? He also says other prior quotes from the trial judge that exposed her bias and prejudice against the defendant include the following: "Your hatred for the Scientology is going to land yourself in jail for a very long time." November
hatred?
21st, 2025.
Why do they weaponize the word hate and hatred? Who wants a cult to thrive? I mean, seriously. It's not even about a hate. No one likes cults. The end. No one likes having their free will taken. The idea that children are being trafficked through this cult. That they're making people pay for something called an audit. And no one understands what the hell that is. You got people working over 100 hours a week, but then again, less than $200 for it. You have children being seen as grown adults. And then essayed by these grown adults. They think babies are mini adults and that they're capable of taking care of themselves. That's how they see babies. Who the hell is this damn judge, man? This is ridiculous.
He's making money off his YouTube channel attacking the Church of Scientology, November 21st. If you're doing it just for social media content, then your whole free speech protest, yada, yada, just kind of going out the door, October 17th, 2025. Maybe because you're not getting enough attention. I don't know. October 17th, 2025. I'm not going to have somebody killed on my watch, November 21, 2025. I better not show up on that YouTube channel, November 21, 2025.
What?
You're basically just stirring up trouble, stirring the pot. You can see he's deliberately walking down that sidewalk looking for an issue. Just the way he's walking. He starts walking by the door. He sees that it opens. He's like, oh, okay, great. And he sticks his head in there and he's clearly holding the door open with his foot when they're trying to close the door. And he's trespassing. I'm surprised he doesn't have a trespass charge against him. And then he clearly shoves this second person. He may be making all kinds of noise on his video, how he got battered, but I just saw the other video and I didn't have to watch that one 3 times back in November. Prejudging the facts of this case and the defendant by making inappropriate comments before any trial and then putting on a prosecutorial hat by commenting that the defendant should have had an additional charge on him. Okay.
This is crazy.
The argument that the court erred in excluding relevant and admissible defense evidence. She wouldn't let him proffer. Florida law is explicit that when evidence is excluded, the proponent must be permitted to make a proffer. The purpose of a proffer is to preserve for the record the substance of excluded evidence so that an appellate court can determine whether the exclusion was erroneous. Florida courts have consistently held that refusal to allow a proffer is itself reversible error because it prevents meaningful appellate review. The primary purpose of a proffer is to include the proposed evidence on the record so that the appellate court can determine whether the trial's ruling was correct. Okay, so he says the errors were not harmless under Florida law. Under Florida law, an error requires reversal unless the state proves beyond a reasonable doubt that the error did not contribute to the verdict. Okay, and the combined errors require a new trial. So
right, so the whole thing is, saying that you don't want a property map to be the document to be included as evidence does not equate to you not wanting people to testify as to the type of property that it is through their testimony. Like they can testify to it, they just couldn't introduce the map itself. But she was accosting the defense for even saying that it was public property and then challenging him to present evidence that she didn't want presented. And it's just it's baffling as to why she would agree for that to be excluded. The building that they're in was not even originally built to be a Scientology or church building. It was built as a bank. So there could be private property around their personal, the public property around the private property itself, like the public property being the sidewalks, the alleyways, and stuff like that. Now, there's a plat of vacation where they have petitioned the court to become owners of certain public properties, such as sidewalks, side streets, and alleys. If there's no documentation or proof that they petitioned the court to become owners of that public property, they can't claim it as private simply because they want to call themselves a church when it's convenient. When it was never built as a religious institution in the first place. They would have to petition the court through the planification process to say that this public property, this sidewalk, is now our private property. Because they didn't originally buy it. They bought the building and what the property the building was on. Did they acquire the public property to become their private property? That's the question. The judge didn't even want any of that to be included in the case. So to ask, where's your evidence on this being public property is a stupid ass question. Your Honor, you're the one that you don't want us to answer it. So why ask us that bullshit? Can't make this up. Y'all. It's the hate crime thing for me. Let's see here. We got Caleb up in here. Yeah, no, they wanted the kids running through the building to be a hate crime, but they can't figure out how to make it fit. I don't know why they would even give this much attention to a cult. Tell Scientology, look, kick rocks. We got the National Guard. We got armies. We got a Navy, armed forces in general that can just come in and get y'all asses on somewhere. Stop playing with us. Stop whining and crying and trying to play victim on everything. Some kids ran through a building, Caleb. And all of a sudden now it's a hate crime. No, it's not. No one likes cults. You kidding? Jen has asked, hello, how did you pick this particular story case today? I follow the anti-Scientology YouTubers. We've been doing Scientology Sundays for about almost 2 months. I think I missed last week. But we've been doing this almost 2 months. And we've been covering Aaron's case here with the courts for 3 weeks? Last 3 or 4 Scientology Sundays, we've covered it. And then, of course, we watched the Leah Remini interviews she's done and all of that. So we've been following this for about 2 months. And I wanted to get an update on what was going on with his case. So this man is in jail for no damn reason, basically. They charged him with battery because somebody claimed that some cornstarch got on them. You got to prove that was intentionally done. Like somebody meant to batter this person with cornstarch. Whether the person was hit with some cornstarch or not is irrelevant to whether or not it was intended for them to be hit with it. That's a separate thing. An accident is one thing, but you can't turn every accident into a crime if you can't prove that there was some intent to do that. Oh man, y'all. It's just crazy. I know it's no problem, honey. It's no problem. Welcome in. You're new here. Welcome in, honey. I love going over court documents as well. Cheryl, where you been? Cheryl. Oh, Cheryl. So Jenna was just going over some court docs. There's been a motion to file for a new trial. And let me show you all this case details information here. So this is the public records case details. Pinellas County Clerk of the Circuit Court there. Case number is 25-15304-MM, as in Eminem. It's a misdemeanor, hence MM, misdemeanor, because it's a misdemeanor. Somehow this dumbass judge is making it all of a felony for no damn reason. So Aaron Smith Levin is the defendant. And then some information. Now I'm just going to move on because I don't want to show his date of birth. Battery statute 784.031, misdemeanor in the first degree. They had a jury trial adjudicated as guilty. The sentence type probation. He went to jail. So this is crazy. Maximum confinement, they can only do 30 days. I mean, it's because it's so stupid. Fine cost $825. Cost of prosecution $50. Fine costs within 10 months, fine costs and a condition of probation, no victim contact, Norman Shape, direct or indirect mental health eval. I know they didn't order him to a mental health eval. No alternative sentencing. The judge is Kathleen T. Hessinger. She's worried about him putting her on his YouTube channel when her information on this case is public records. Why are you worried about whether or not you're going to land in Aaron's YouTube channel, but you're not worried about all these public documents you're going to land in? What you mean? These are public documents. You're the judge presiding over a case where documents are available to the public, and you're worried about being in his YouTube channel? This judge is stupid as hell. That is the least of your worries, you clown. All judges aren't good judges. So y'all can see the case activity from the most recent down to the earliest date. So it started back on December 5th of last year. And then they had pre-trial, then motion, pre-trial, motion, and then jury trial. Oh, Lord. So there's to be no contact with this from the victim, I assume they're considering him to be. No alternative sentencing. Once he get out, that should be it. They have all the activity as far as events and documents here. Y'all see that? Events and documents. It's hard to highlight stuff over here. What the heck is going on? So starting from the most recent on down to the earliest, and you see all of the case details. That motion in limine was back on March 3rd. I'm sorry. The hearing was set for March 3rd for the motion in limine. And then it occurred on, let's see, was it April 4th? It was like April 4th. Oh, child. So that's pretty much the case details with that. And then, of course, when it comes down to these corrupt ass judges, you can report their asses. Hopefully, with that motion for a new trial, they request a new judge, meaning they need to have this heifer recused. And they need to file a complaint against her. And in the state of Florida, it is considered the Judicial Qualifications Commission. So here are the steps to what occurs when you file a complaint against a judge, determine the jurisdiction and all of that, obtain and complete the complaint form, complete it accurately and completely, providing supporting documents. If it's more than one judge, you have to submit a form for each of them. Submit the complaint over. It's best that he get his attorney to do this because the attorneys know the specific rule of conduct to cite, and you still have to make the argument about how they violated that rule of conduct and provide the evidence to support it. So it would be best for his attorney to do that. Complaint review and investigation. So the JQC, once they receive it and they accept the complaint, then they create a docket number and they go through and investigate it. It goes to court like anything else. If it is determined that there were misconduct, those misconduct charges based on the rules of conduct, they will cite those codified rules. It's like statute codes, but it's for rules of conduct. So they'll cite it and then they'll show the violation, and then they'll go through and make the argument as to how that judge violated it. And it'll be read just like any other pleading to a court. There'll be a whole hearing on it. They would have to testify. They can bring in witnesses and evidence. I mean, it's like any other hearing. And then there's a 3-panel, at least a 3-panel judge panel hearing for the JQC. And then those judges determine whether or not this judge should be removed. So that's the outcome and confidentiality here you're seeing. And then they have some additional resources. So for those who want to file a complaint, I'm gonna drop the link. That judge sucks. Oh my gosh, she sucks. There you go. There's for Florida. Oh man, we don't like corrupt judges. Be fair and impartial and neutral. It's the best way to go. There's nothing wrong with being impartial and neutral. If you don't want one side to speak about private or public property, then you got to say the same thing for the other side. You know, the stuff is on court records. There's a court reporter in there. This is a criminal matter, even though it was a misdemeanor. It's still a court reporter automatically assigned. And they need to get a copy of everything before the judge try to have a court reporter. Because some people will go out their way to have a court reporters alter the information. If you can believe it. They will get down and dirty to try to keep from getting caught up. If the judge didn't do anything wrong, then she should just let the complaints be filed and participate. But what she did was horrible. I mean, it's no reason to accost one side or the other and berate them over something you haven't made clear. And that is, what evidence are you excluding versus permitting to be put on the record? In either way, you still have to note what you're excluding. In the event of an appeal, the appellate court can look at this and say, no, this should have been included. This is pertinent and relevant to the case. Why would the judge agree for this to be excluded? What was the legal argument or reasoning that the judge used? What law, what case law did this judge utilize to say, yeah, this should not be submitted in as evidence into this case? If you're saying this person was on private property and there's evidence to show that it was not private property, that's relevant to the case. That's substantial. And it probably will alter the ruling or the outcome of the case. Why in the hell would you want that to be excluded? What you mean? So, and that's what it comes down to. So, that's that, y'all. Hopefully Aaron gets out soon. Somebody said a week. He's got a week left. How much time he got left? Child. The judge did not allow critical evidence in this case and silence Aaron under the threat of jail. Oh, yeah. And they put in and she had him arrested. He's doing 20 days of a 30-day sentence. Can't make this stuff up. So they even filed a motion for to revoke or increase bond. Can't make this up, man. All this crap they did to him. Yeah, they're the worst. So either way, like I said, this stuff is public information. Kathleen Hessinger is her name. I mean, how do you expect to remain private and you're a judge? Get the hell out of here. Make this stuff up. She didn't want to be in his YouTube channel, but you show him mine. Oh boy, let's see. I want to make sure that's all we got in. Shout out to Jenna for sticking by Aaron and giving us the information we needed on this. That's all I got for this one, you all. Listen, make sure you guys go and check out Growing Up in Scientology. That is the YouTube channel link for Aaron. And show him some support. And Jenna Miscavige has her own channel as well. I've actually left her a comment to be able to do an interview with her. So maybe one day it'll happen. I know my channel isn't huge or anything, but we're just as passionate. You know, we're all about exposing the cults over here. And Scientology is one of them. It's a dumb cult. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. Hey, no reply. How you doing, honey? I'm about to head on out because we got another live planned at 2 with Brandon Tatum's simp ass. And, you know, we're going to keep it moving for the day. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Hit that like button on the way out. I appreciate all of you and your support. We will be back at it next week for Scientology Sunday, getting in more survivor stories. And until the next one, Lady Luck Club out. Deuces.